Hello everybody and welcome to Mondoid, your one-stop shop for all things Project Zomboid, and this week, items of note. Very thrilling. Actually, this Mondoid's actually pretty good. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's just dive into it as we tend to do. So with Build 31 still kind of finishing up there, I will back up my save file branch, and Build 32 kind of in development right now. There's a lot of wonder and curiosity as to what Build 32 is actually going to maintain as far as details. We know the overview and all that other good stuff and what to kind of expect, but we're finally starting to get the trickle down of what we can expect in Build 32. And that is the the big crafting change. There's a lot of stuff coming to the crafting system in Build 32 that's going to kind of overhaul the way the game is played, at least in my opinion, and we're starting to get a peek at how that's going to end up working. For one, there's a lot of new items. There's over 70 new items currently, and some will be useful and some won't. So that's going to do a lot to kind of throw players off as to what they can build and what they can't. These are actually a little bit of a nice little picture as to some of the newer items you can see in the game itself. And to name a few, we've got a perfume bottle, dog leash, crayons, comic book, pine cones, which can be used to light a fire. Awesome. Washing up liquid, which I would assume is soap. Mop, blood cleaning, yay, and alarm clock. Look, some balls. So there's a lot of good stuff. What is so exciting about that? They kind of talk about it, so let's talk about it now. Well, obviously with new items comes new recipes, and with new recipes comes new things you can build to make dealing with hordes easier, other players easier, this, that, and the other. The exciting thing outside of new recipes is that a lot of the recipes, as they stated, are going to be profession exclusive. That's the word I was looking for. It took me a little bit. So if you're, say, for instance, an electrician, you will be able to make a motion detector over with some parts and some time, while somebody who's not an electrician can't make that, which is interesting because obviously it would make solo play a lot more, I guess, I don't want to say niche, but it would be a lot more difficult for somebody who's going for a particular playstyle but didn't pick the right class. But what I really think this is going to affect is multiplayer. One of the big things that people want in multiplayer of a game like this is a reason to group up. And you see a lot of that with DayZ, and even most recently H1Z1, is a lot of the people who are complaining about this is that there's no reason to group up with other people. The only reason is to, the only thing that's reasonable and rational is to just kill them on sight, take their loot, and move on. And a lot of these games have done a lot to try and stave that with like a karma system and a heat system in H1Z1 and a bunch of other things. But the one thing that I feel like is such a simple answer, and the one thing Project Zomboid is doing well, is just giving you built-in reasons. And for that, I'm talking about classes. So if you start the game as a carpenter, you might not have the best shot in the world, so fighting off zombies and other players for that matter is going to be difficult, whereas if you start as a cop, you know, shooting and killing zombies and other players is actually going to be pretty easy, but building things and cooking is not going to be very good. And say those two come together, but hey, they still can't cook very well, you know, carpenter. They can cook basic stuff, but the benefits are minimal, and they're just scraping by. Where if they get a cook involved who can't do any building or shooting, but he can cook amazing things, that's going to round out a relatively decently small group that can do a little bit of everything pretty well. There are built-in game reasons to group up, and that's what I'm seeing with Build 32. That's the first thing that comes to mind, is that when you are building in these kind of class-specific recipes, these class-specific things you can do, as well as, you know, bonuses to experience in certain aspects of your class. So if I'm a carpenter, I'm going to get bonus to experience in carpentry skill and start with a higher carpentry skill than other people. You're giving players reasons to group up. And that's awesome, because I really think multiplayer is going to be already is a big part of Project Zomboid, and in the future when it does officially launch it's going to be huge, while the NPCs are going to be big for single player. They're really building kind of two very separate games here in a weird way. So that's awesome. That's what I'm thinking of. When I read that, all I think of is multiplayer is going to be a whole different beast and give people more of a reason to build groups. I mean, when I played multiplayer in Project Zomboid a long time ago, on the server I was playing and the people I was playing with, there was already two pretty big groups on the server that were working, you know, that had a decent amount of people, and then were working against each other, trading with each other, but vying for control over different aspects of the map. The stuff that you want in a zombie apocalypse multiplayer game, Project Zomboid is giving you, and not by doing anything weird with the heat system, but just giving you classes that would benefit working well together. So that's awesome. I'm very, very excited about that. So we'll move on. I could talk about that forever. The other thing is they're going to have, I don't know if it's launched yet. I don't think it is. But they're going to have an official multiplayer server for Project Zomboid. And the reason for this is oh God. Oh, man, this is boring stuff. Sorry about that. So they're going to have the Indie Stone official server for Project Zomboid. And the reason for this is that what they're going to do is they want to monitor multiplayer so they can catch any bugs that happen. They want to be able to monitor it 24/7. Also, the official server is going to be friendly, so you can't kill other players. So it's going to be there for players to kind of catch the ropes, understand how multiplayer works, this, that, and the other, while the Indie Stone watches you. So that's kind of cool. Kind of a nice beginner multiplayer server while also doubling as something for the Indie Stone to kind of monitor and watch. The TV system seems to be working well as well. We already knew this is coming. This is going to be a way for you to get your news and all this other stuff about how this outbreak happened. Also, you're going to be able to watch like carpentry shows and cooking shows and get boosts to experience to those, as well as get boosts to your moodlet and put your character in a good mood for watching TV. But if you watch the same show over and over and eventually watch repeats, your character's experience bonus is going to be smaller and smaller until it's non-existent, and your character will eventually get bored from watching that same program. Oops, sorry, I bopped my mic. Same program over and over again. But we already knew that that was going to be something that was coming. If you want to watch the TV in action, projectzomboid.com, just click on the blog and you can come watch this video. As you can see, I've watched basically all of it. And the last thing is there was a big bug, and this is a lot of technical stuff here, so I'm not going to really go over it, but there was a big bug with multiplayer maps over the past month, and it looks like they finally figured it out, and they fixed it and destroyed it thanks to Easy Pickens and his awesome coding. So good job to Easy Pickens in fixing the problem. Multiplayer servers should be fixed up with a hot patch and all that stuff if you're having it. It looks like we'll have that sorted out if it's not already sorted out by the time this goes live. And then finally, the very last thing is something else about multiplayer servers that's very technical and I don't understand. So if you're all about that technical stuff, go check it out. As far as I know, the big bug has been squashed and everything is looking good. So a decently meaty Mondoid. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of stuff here to digest. So I would suggest you always come to projectzomboid.com and read the details yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed this Mondoid. If you did and you're a once-a-weeker, well, I'll see you next week. If you're a regular, I'll see you later today. And as always, I will see all of you next time. Bye-bye.